I'm going to start by saying something that has never been said before. Live service games suck. I know this has been something that's been talked about a lot. Lately, I've wanted to expand my gaming horizons beyond just playing Kingdom Hearts 1 on proud mode over and over again. I think the last time that I was really up to date with newer stuff coming out was honestly Ghost of Tsushima on the PlayStation 4, and that was in 2020, 6 years ago. When I started to dig into the current gaming scene, specifically checking up on what PlayStation was up to nowadays, I quickly came to realize that every single AAA title was live service now. Now, some background on me before I keep going. I'm a big single player fan. I've been playing games since I was younger. My favorite game series of all time is Final Fantasy, with 7 through 10 being my favorite games ever. Please don't make me pick one. I love all of them equally. I'm a big fan of the PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2 eras, also being that I grew up during that time. PlayStation 2 was my childhood, as it was for most people my age that were into video games. Some other favorites include Half-Life 2, Silent Hill 3, Doom 2016, Fallout New Vegas. Pretty normie single player taste, if I'm being honest. I don't have too many deep cuts, but you get where I'm coming from now. Single player is my forte. Now back to modern games. I had an itch to keep up with the newer stuff that was coming out, and I won't sensationalize how terrible things are. There are a bunch of cool games coming out. If you really look at the indie space, Expedition 33 reminding everyone that people still love turn-based combat. Megabonk takes the feeling of playing a video game and makes it orgasmic. I don't know how it works, but it just does. Frankly, these are far and few between. Mainstream gaming has been taken over by live service games, and we have one title to blame for it. I was in college when Fortnite came out. I had a roommate who played it 24/7, and I'm pretty sure he didn't even go to classes anymore when it came out. He just played Fortnite constantly. I'd go back to my room and hear the bus horn and the beeping sounds emanating out of his room. I remember being there and just seeing it take over everything. Fortnite was a cultural sensation when it came out. And while it's still massive, I do feel like the hype has died down slightly over the years. I decided to sit down and give it a whirl, just looking for something new and kind of wanting to be in on sort of what's in the current landscape, and looking at this as like, this is kind of what set everything up for where we are now. I was playing for a while as your stock Fortnite character when I noticed how many wacky characters I was surrounded by, and I was wondering how much more I'd have to play to unlock one of them. Except you can't. After doing some research, I learned that you have to throw down actual money for the characters. You can unlock pickaxes and gliders, maybe an emote, but the vastly lamer ones. It was easy for me to say, I don't want to spend any money on this, but being in it, of course I wanted to play as Marge Simpson. I always avoided battle passes. I never knew exactly how they worked, but I always figured it was just extra content that you had to spend real money on, and I always avoided that shit like the plague, like I should have. But I wanted to experience this firsthand, and that may sound ridiculous. Rather than hearing about it in a YouTube video about how terrible something is, I wanted to experience it firsthand. I don't know, it's an experience. So I decided to experiment, and I threw down some money for the battle pass, and I kept playing. And Fortnite is your pretty typical battle royale. It's an online shooter. The gameplay is fun. You pick up items, you try to kill other players and hope to be the last man standing, and it's fun. It's basic, but it's fun. Like, there's nothing extraordinary about it. It's fine. And I kept playing, and as I was playing, I was unlocking characters, emotes, backgrounds that were a bit more specialized than the stuff that they'd give you for free. And I started to feel this stress because these games work on a time limit. These battle passes work on a time limit. Every month or so is a season, and the season pass or the battle pass allows you to access the exclusive content for that season. It began to occur to me that if I didn't unlock everything in those battle passes by the end of the month, I'd be out some of the money that I put down for it. And it really hit me when I wasn't playing Fortnite. I'd be looking for something to do as a human being, just living my life. And I'd look at my calendar and I'd think, if I don't put more Fortnite time in, then I'm going to miss out on the stuff in the battle pass that I put down money for. And that really sucks. That really sucks. There have been so many videos popping up over the past few years talking about how gaming doesn't feel like it used to, or gaming feels like a job now. And I have to say, That's because this shit is. These battle passes add like a deadline to how much time you have to get the stuff offered that month, enticing you and literally pressuring you to keep playing their game. And somehow at the same time, while I sit here and think it's dumb, I can feel that rush, that pressure can become addicting. Like that's the gameplay loop of Fortnite and these other live service games. You keep playing, you keep unlocking items, and new items come out every month. And that's the cycle you're going for. The Battle Royale is just kind of the means to achieve an end, if anything. And I can understand someone wanting to tune in every month and drop the $8 on a battle pass to go through that. I can understand someone feeling like that's fun, like it's this event that you tune back into every month. And at the same time, I think that person's a psychopath. And let's talk about the fact that these things that you're paying for and going through all of this for are solely cosmetic. In Fortnite, playing as Bart Simpson or a character from My Hero Academia isn't going to get you a leg up. It's just for show. And you know how much these outfits cost on average? Take a second and guess. You're probably figuring, well, the battle pass for the whole month is only $8. So it's got to be what? $2, $3 for an outfit? Try $16 for a single outfit. And there are bundles that go up to like 20 or 30 bucks for something entirely cosmetic. But the incentive is, hey, it's free to get in the door, but don't you want to play as Marshmallow? The game is not free. Maybe to get in the door and to start playing, but that voice in the back of your head will start telling you, oh man, I need to play a chaperone in Fortnite. And that's the voice that they're banking on to make money off of you. Fortnite has made $3.5 billion in 2023 alone. This game has been out for almost 10 years. This game has shit money unlike anything that's come before it, and the rest of the industry is just trying to get their hands in on that cash pile. They add things to the shop on a daily basis. I can't imagine what people have spent over the years. I see people running around with characters that were offered years ago. And I'll echo the sentiments of everyone else that talks about this, and it does make me a little sad. I had my fun with Fortnite that month. Even now, I like to tune into it every now and then and just fire off a couple rounds. I bought the Futurama characters and Bart and Lisa, and in total, I spent around $60 on Fortnite that month, which is so much money, and I feel like absolute shit for doing it. And I can safely say I will never drop another dime on these live service games. It simply isn't worth it. An illusion that the game changes each month. Like literally the map and the UI changes slightly over time. That's pretty much it. And there's lore or whatever, but I don't give a shit. It's the same game day in and day out. It's an online deathmatch shooter. It's a battle royale. And there are other game modes. Fortnite technically operates as an engine in which people can create their own game modes and offer them for others to play in, which Gary's Mod did like 2 decades ago. I'm just saying, and I'm really dating myself by bringing up Gmod in 2026. Fortnite has these objectives you can complete in the middle of matches. There are NPCs you can talk to complete quests, giving you this dosage of single player gameplay in the middle of an ongoing deathmatch round. And it sucks. I tinkered with it and it just felt so out of place. Like I'm coming to this to play online and fight other people. This stuff just feels like a hollow way for them to say Fortnite has a variety of gameplay, in the same way that they imply that the game is ongoing and changes. It really doesn't. The core of Fortnite and all these other live service games is exactly the same, day in and day out. My curiosity wanted me to hop around, and so I hopped onto Marvel Rivals. For a single day, it ran like shit, the menus were confusing, I couldn't aim. That's probably more on me, but that's besides the point here. Someone got mad at me for not playing well and cussed me out in voice chat in front of everyone, and I just thought, why not go play Overwatch? And I didn't, but still, to me, Marvel Rivals just felt like a lesser Overwatch. And Overwatch is free too, so it's like, to people who play Marvel Rivals, it's like, are you okay? Do you need help? Why are you doing this? And I looked in the stores to find the exact same exorbitant prices, cosmetics, and outfits that were about $16 each, bundles that went north of 20 bucks. And it began to really hit me that this is what gaming is now. I think there's only been one live service game that I've enjoyed, and it's a pretty obvious one, Arc Raiders. Everybody and their grandma has been playing and talking about Arc Raiders since it came out last year. I first heard about it in November and decided to jump in on it. I quickly became very, very addicted. What I loved about the game was that it had a genuine gameplay loop, and it is sad that the bar is so low with these games that it's like, hey, this game is good because it has actual gameplay in it. In Arc Raiders, Earth has been taken over by Arc, a robot species that drove humanity underground. As a player, a raider, you go to the surface, you search anything and everything to collect any item or material you can find, and try to survive and make it back to the elevators or trains or whatever it is that will bring you back underground. You'll have to fight off the Ark, who are the primary threat, but you'll also run into other raiders who are actual other players. And this is where Arc Raiders shows its unique flair and gets interesting. As a raider, you can be nice and help people and use that "don't shoot" emote, or they can take you out, or you can take them out. It's up to you, and it's up to the other players that are playing, and it makes running into other players this secondary layer to the gameplay that adds a bit of chaos, and that gamble makes it a bit magical, I'm not gonna lie. In my experience, other players were often nice, but there were times that they weren't, and they shot me on sight. If you die, you lose everything you had on you, including that nice weapon you spent the last few runs upgrading. Your goal on the surface is to survive without being killed by something or anything, and go back underground to use the things you found to build weapons, gear, and build out your arsenal to make your next trip to the surface more prosperous. I thought it sounded boring at first, but diving into it, I quickly realized how addicting it really was. I ended up clocking over 100 hours into the game, and again, coming from me, the fact that I never do that with any of these games, and I'm more of a single player fan, the fact that I clocked over 100 hours into this should tell you that Arc Raiders is seriously incredible. On paper, Arc Raiders and other extraction shooters, which is what this genre of game is called, sounds ridiculously boring. Even now talking about it, I don't feel that I'm doing it justice, but it's become a hit for a reason, and I did everything I wanted to with my time with it. I killed the matriarch, I killed the queen, I looted the harvesters, I hit the level cap, which is level 75, I crafted an equalizer, I crafted a Jupiter, and so on, and I fully upgraded my rooster too. And oh yeah, there's a rooster that gathers you basic resources in between runs, and he's really awesome. Now Arc Raiders is a live service game. That being said, there is a cosmetics shop. Now the game is very generous in giving you the in-game currency just by playing the game, and fairly regularly too. I've been able to unlock some outfits using the in-game currency without dropping a single dime. That's how it should be in every game, mind you. In Fortnite, they throw you V-Bucks like once in a blue moon, and it's really more they're just teasing you because it's only a fraction of what an actual outfit or a character costs. Arc Raiders is $40, it's not free, and I do think that is worth mentioning. I don't respect the cosmetics shop. Again, these purchases don't affect gameplay. They are just for appearance, which adds to just how dumb these shops are. I don't like the shop here, but it is far less predatory than some of these other live service games out here. And again, this is a live service game. Battle passes are there, but I was able to unlock a healthy amount of things by just playing the game normally and being rewarded currencies to unlock stuff. And I'll give Arc Raiders credit, even when the season ends and a new battle pass comes out, the older battle pass is still directly available. You can go into any of them directly without spending any real money and unlock whatever you want, whenever you want. Embark Studios, the game's Swedish development team, acknowledged my complaint about these passes being time sensitive and that stress directly with this, and I admire that. And maybe battle passes don't suck as bad as the game mechanic with this time sensitivity being lifted, but it's still something that I saw being on the side and not in the main gameplay loop like it was with Fortnite and other live service titles. All in all, Arc Raiders has to be the least predatory live service game out there. Embark even came out a while ago and announced that they were lowering the prices of the items in the shop and that they were reimbursing players that had already spent money to compensate for these changes, which is completely unheard of in this landscape. So Arc Raiders is a bit of a shining beacon for a lot of people right now. I think my biggest gripe with Arc Raiders is the lack of story, but that's just a blending of my preferences being at conflict with the fact that these live service games are not here to provide a cohesive narrative experience. The experience is the repetition and the sense of building your arsenal and your cosmetic collection. Building a cosmetic collection is as much a part of the gameplay loop as is the actual gameplay itself. And while I loved Arc Raiders, it did get old after a while, and the hollow skeleton of these live service games begins to show itself. In a few weeks, the new big live service game is going to be hitting the streets, which is Marathon. Marathon is developed by Bungie, the creators of Halo and Destiny, and this is going to be PlayStation's next big game as well. It is coming out on all consoles, but with Bungie being owned by Sony now, this is being pushed as Sony's new big game as well. Marathon has been in development for a while now, multiple beta tests which got lukewarm to negative reception, and it doesn't help that this is another big league attempt at capturing the live service hype that we've seen before. These games don't end well almost ever, with most of them shutting down within literal days or weeks. The last time Sony did this was with a game called Concord. They spent $300 million on it and then shut it down 3 days after launching and refunded the 5 people that bought it their money. More recently was Highguard, which got a lot of hype, but it turned out to be, surprise, another bland live service game that offered nothing new, another surprise, and the development team got laid off 2 weeks after it came out. Most people are assuming Marathon is going to end up like this. There have been so many failed attempts with all of these companies. And the interesting thing to me here is that these efforts to clone this live service formula is so futile. The way that I see it, once someone commits to a Fortnite, an Apex Legends, an Overwatch, or an Arc Raiders, and they play and they unlock a bunch of things and they stick with it over time, they stick through the events, they level up the character, maybe they even throw down some money to unlock some of the cosmetics. It's like an ecosystem that they've chosen to lock into. It's similar to tech ecosystems like someone with an iPhone and Apple. Someone with an iPhone, they're not going to want an Android smartwatch or, like a Google service. They're going to want a MacBook and other Apple products in tandem because that's the native stuff that works with Apple devices so well. That's the thing that's going to work with the iPhone that they already went in on. They're going to stick with the brand and the ecosystem that works seamlessly for them. That's how an ecosystem works. And I think these live service games are very, very similar. An Arc Raiders clone, which is what Marathon is looking like, will just make people want to go play Arc Raiders and stick with it, or they'll give Marathon a shot for a little while and then just go back to Arc Raiders. Again, it's like they're kind of trying to tap into an ecosystem that's already been established for a lot of people. And given how committed Arc Raiders' player base is, and how committed Embark Studios is to developing it and giving back to its community with both service and content, I think Marathon is fighting an uphill battle here. And all these other live service games are too, given that they want to mimic the popular game at the time, and it's like these people have already hunkered down there. They're not going to come over and try the new thing that's the exact same thing that they're already sort of invested in. It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Arc Raiders didn't blow up because it's a live service game. Arc Raiders blew up because it's a good game at its core and it had its own thing going for it. Highguard failed because it did nothing new, and it's looking like Marathon may meet the same fate too. Whether it does well or whether it doesn't, and I don't know, I'm just some random dumbass talking on the internet. I do want to grab a copy of Marathon when it comes out. I kind of want to be on the ground floor when this thing hits and just kind of see how it does. Now, in my opinion, Marathon is looking like it's just going to be an Arc Raiders clone. It's going to be another live service attempt like we've seen before. I don't think it's going to do very well. I am curious to see how it works. And the really crazy thing about this, we're talking about Bungie here. This is the team that made fucking Halo, and they dominated in the 2000s. I mean, they were on top. And it's really crazy to think Bungie are competing with this new kid on the block pretty much directly by aiming their game to kind of mimic what Arc Raiders is doing. Embark Studios is a smaller independent team. And it really is a testament to just how much things have changed in the gaming landscape. We are in a wild west right now, and I think a lot of people look at this and they talk about how sad and bleak things are because live service are cash cows and business and evil and yada yada. I'm not gonna lie, it is kind of interesting to watch all this play out. Maybe it's the cynic in me, but I mean, watching these major multi-million-dollar games crash and burn is also insane to see, and it's interesting to say the least. It's crazy that these games fail so bad that they cease to exist. You can't play Concord anymore. You can't play these games once they get shut off. And I think Valorant is another one. They shut that one down too. Like, you can't play these games anymore. They don't exist anymore. They shut down the servers and they move on. These games fail that bad. A precedent unlike anything before. This is a new level of failure that we're seeing now. And again, it's just kind of interesting to watch it unfold. I'll say that much.